How you all doing? I just need to say hi to this person. I haven't seen her for a long time.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Nice to see you. Well, here we are, 1st of March. Cousin Ozzy died and went to heaven. St. Peter was at the gate checking him in. And St. Peter said, as I go through your records, I'm not sure we can allow you entry. I can never see where you held down a steady job. I can never see where you went out of your way to help somebody when you could. I don't see anywhere where you're a good citizen. So I'm afraid that we just can't allow you into heaven. With this, Cousin Ozzy got a little bit indignant. He says, wait a minute. What about the time I was at Larson's Tavern, and there was a beautiful, respectable woman sitting at the bar having a sarsaparilla. And this cowboy came in, this wild and wily cowboy came in, and he sidled up next to her and put his arm around her and started talking flirtatiously to her. I got off my bar stool and walked over to that cowboy. And even though the lady resisted, the cowboy persisted, but I said, listen, you're nothing but a no-good ignoramus. And if you don't take your arm out from around that woman, you're going to have to deal with me. Well, St. Peter was flabbergasted. He said, I can't find that any place in the record. You know when it happened? Because he said, yeah, about 2 minutes ago. Okay. Well, if you're new here for the first time, on Sunday morning, we gather together for a really simple celebration of life that involves music and involves meditation, but also it involves learning something more about our lives so we can move forward with a greater degree of happiness and a sense of well-being in our lives. And there are over 7.5 billion people in this world. I want you to think about that for a moment. 7.5 billion people, every single person is different, is unique, is an individual. Every single person sees the world in a different way based on everything that's happened to them during their lifetime. Every single person has goals and a sense of purpose, but also every single person needs pretty much the same stuff that everybody else needs. We have 7 basic needs that are required in our lives in order to have a strong sense of well-being. Now, that shouldn't be too difficult because each and every one of us has the capacity to fulfill these needs, but sometimes we get sidetracked. We start looking at things in a different way that takes us away from that which we need instead of moving us towards it. Now, I need to explain to you the difference between needs and wants. Wants are something I want to win the lottery, I want a new car, I want this, but my happiness doesn't depend on it. A need, however, is something that I have to have in my life if I am going to feel good. Now, the 7 basic needs, the first is survival or sustenance. We all need food, we all need liquids, we all need shelter to provide us shelter from the elements. And it's very difficult to want anything else or to move towards anything else when you're hungry or when you're cold or when your life is in danger. The second basic need we have is for safety or stability. And everybody here knows this. At some point in your life, you've been in a position or a situation or a circumstance of some sort where it feels like you're right on the edge. You don't know what's going to happen next. You get stressed out. You get worried. You get fearful. And our nervous system simply isn't set up to handle that on a regular basis. We need stability in our lives. The third thing is we need to be socially connected. We can't live life like an island. We need to be able to engage ourselves in something that's bigger than ourselves, like coming to church for instance. You connect with other people by coming here. You're in a group that is looking towards increasing your spiritual awareness. We need that social connection. Through that social connection, we are reflected back to ourselves by other people in regards to the kind of person we are. The fourth need is we need to feel good about ourselves. And this is the biggest plague of the human condition. In all my years in ministry, I have never met a single person that doesn't have some degree of low self-esteem. And if you think about that for a minute, it's terribly difficult to live with. We're the only creature on the earth that steps outside of itself and reflects back with distaste or disgust or a depreciation of some sort. And when we have low self-esteem and we don't feel good about ourselves, it's like living with the enemy 24 hours a day. It attacks our mental health, our emotional health, and our physical health. We have to feel good about ourselves, and there is no reason why we shouldn't. The fifth one is to continue to grow and become more. Everything in life, whether it's a tree, a flower, a bird, or a person, if you're not growing, if you're not evolving to some degree, if you're not unfolding the potential that you have, then you're either stagnant or you're dying. You see the flowers that grow up and there's a bud before the bloom. Well, the flower doesn't stop at the bud. It continues to fully blossom to its full potential. And it doesn't make any difference how old you are. It doesn't make any difference what's happened in your past. It doesn't make any difference where you live or what's going on in your life. You always have the capacity to become more than you've ever been before, simply by learning one thing perhaps, or doing something you never thought you could do. And to experience yourself doing something or becoming more than you've ever been is an incredible experience. You all know that. When you accomplish something you didn't think you could accomplish, you really feel good. And then the sixth need is for understanding. Understanding what life is all about. Understanding what we are all about, each of us individually. Going back to the fact that there are 7.5 billion people in the world, that everybody is different. It is necessary for us to find our way and discover where we fit in. Now, there was a time when you were born. You came into this world. The life itself on earth was already in motion. Everything was pretty much set. There's not a lot of things you can do to change it. You can make individual choices, and you can pursue different goals and objectives, and you can fall in love with different people. But life itself is pretty much set. So when you come into this world, there's only one criteria, and that is that you fit in. You're not here to disrupt life. You're not here to be an inconvenience to life or to other people. We're here to fit in. Now, when I fit in, I don't mean conforming to the standards of the world, and I don't mean going along with the gang, so to speak, so we can be one of the group. And I don't mean buying the latest fashions so that we look like we fit in. But when I say I fit in, it means that we have to fit into life and be of some sort of value. Otherwise, there's no reason for us to be here. Correct. If we're not of some sort of value to the world around us, if we're not a beneficial presence that improves the condition of the world, our lives, and the people around us, then we're falling short of our responsibility. To be of value is pretty simple. What is life value? Life values those things that connect us, that bring us together, that move beyond negativity, that move beyond conflict, that move beyond all the other things that have us fighting with each other or disliking each other or even hating each other at times. When we move forward into life with the objection or the intention of being a beneficial presence, it is very simple. All we're called on to do is to be kind to other people. We can all do that. No matter how obstinate or belligerent the other person is, no matter how much they are attacking us, we can still be kind. The second thing is compassion. For those people who have less, for those people who are struggling, for those people that have some sort of an illness or a handicap, have compassion for them. Each and every one of us here can do that. When it comes to kindness and compassion, we have unlimited potential to express. We can never get to the point where we have no more. The third thing is joy. When we're kind to people and we're compassionate to those that have less or that are dealing with difficult times, we have the ability to make things better for that person. and we can do that. But to go out and just mimic the words and just be kind to people because it's an obligation doesn't work. We have to do it with joy. Express that with joy. That's where the real power and the effect that we have on other people come forth. And then the last thing is inclusivity. You know, I can be kind to my neighbor over here, but not my neighbor over here. No, we don't discriminate. If you're going to do this, you do it to everybody. Now, I listed 6 of the needs that we have. The 7th need might surprise you because we don't have to take any action. We don't have to do anything to experience it. And this only came about, I think, in the last 50 years, where researchers discovered that beauty is a need that each and every one of us has. And we're the only species on the earth, and that's about 3% of all of life, that recognizes beauty. But it has an essential effect on us. It can heal us. It can make us feel better. People who find beauty in the town that they live in and people that find beauty in the home that they live in are much healthier and go on to live longer than people who have the opposite conditions. Beauty is of such an importance that I believe we've warped it a bit. Most of us, when we look at beauty, and I'm including myself in this, we look at the conventional beauty. You know, the movie star good looks, the beautiful sunset, the full moon, the flowers in the garden, whatever it might be. Sure, that is beautiful. But beauty doesn't stop there. You see, our eyes have been conditioned to only see beauty in the sense that it has been taught to us. And this brings me, if any of you are wondering, to the picture in the front of the bulletin. That is a blobfish. And it won the distinction of being the ugliest creature on earth. And I don't know who determined that, but somebody did. When I first saw it, I thought, wow, they're right. That is one ugly fish. It lives off the coast of Australia, about 2,000 feet under the surface of the water. It hovers just above the ocean bottom. It doesn't have a skeleton. It doesn't have a muscular structure. It is truly just a blob. And it sits there, and its only job, or its only objective, is to conserve energy. So it just sits there with its mouth open and lets little fish and other things just float into its mouth, and that's how it gets its sustenance, its food. Now, when I first saw this picture, yes, I thought this is ugly. But as I kept going back to it and kept looking at it more and more, well, this thing isn't that ugly. It's really kind of cute in a way. Maybe even beautiful if you look at the way it's designed perfectly for how it has to live its life. It is an object of beauty. And what I'm getting at is everything on earth was created by God. Everything on earth is beautiful in its own way. It's just that we have to suspend all of our previous perspectives on what beauty is and open ourselves up to closely observing the world around us and seeing beauty everywhere. I'm going to close today with a story that involves beauty. It's about 2 people that were in the hospital, 2 men, and they're both very, very sick. One man had a bed by the window, another man had a bed on the other side of the room with no window or no view whatsoever. Well, one day the guy with no view asked the guy by the window, "Hey, tell me, what do you see when you look out the window?" And the guy said, "Oh, I see a beautiful park. And in the park, there's a lake. And little kids are playing with their boats in the water. Lovers are walking hand in hand down the lane. There's flowers around the perimeter of the park. Everything is just so beautiful. Off in the distance, I can see the skyline of the city, and that is beautiful." Well, it got to be the point where this guy without the view wanted to know what was going on outside the window every single day, and the guy by the window felt free to share it with him. Every day they'd spend an hour talking about the beauty just beyond the window. Well, surprisingly, the guy by the window got well. And one day they moved into a different floor, took him out of intensive care. And the other guy that was left there didn't know what happened to him, so he asked the nurse, and they said, well, they're going to release him. He said, well, can I have the bed by the window? And the nurse says, yeah, I think that would be okay. So they move him to bed by the window. He gets to the bed, and he sits up and looks out the window, and that's all he sees is a huge gray cement wall. Nothing else. And he is angry. He asks the nurse, why would that person tell me all the beautiful things that are out there if they don't even exist? Why would he fool me like that? And why do I have to have this bed now with a huge gray wall outside the window where I can't see any of the things I've imagined? And the nurse says, well, I don't know. I can't explain the man, but maybe, just maybe, he was doing that so that you would have a sense of the beauty on the earth. You see, the nurse said, the man was totally blind. He couldn't see anything outside the window. But what he made up was a joyful moment for you as well as for him. Well, sometimes we just have to make up what is beautiful and what isn't beautiful. And the blobfish in the front of the bulletin, I think, is our challenge. That's our test. If somebody hadn't claimed it to be ugly and somebody else had claimed it to be beautiful, would we all be in that camp, loving the little blowfish? No, probably not. Beauty surrounds us. If you sit in this room and you look at the stained glass windows and you look at the love window and you look at all the different details to this building, it's nothing but beauty. But, I've been here 31 years and sometimes I lose track of that. I can walk through this building and not see anything beautiful because my mind is on something else. I've just been accustomed to it. But when I stop, occasionally, I'll come in here maybe around noon, and I'll sit in the middle of the seats. The place is empty. The sun comes through one of the windows, and it has a halo that shines down on me, and I said, this is truly beautiful. Now, I am telling you this because we do have 7 needs. The 6 are all understandable. The 7 is somewhat new to us. But don't deny beauty in your life. When you see it, stop and observe it. When you don't see it, create it. Do something to make this a more beautiful world. You will feel better, and others will feel better. So I ask you to take that into mind when we move into meditation. And this time meditation, we're going to spend a little bit more time in the silence. And as we do that, I want you to think of all the beautiful things in your life that you really haven't thought about, maybe as beautiful or you haven't thought about as all, during your life. But now move into meditation.